So we're starting a new job here, and this is going to be what this is a broken alabaster lamp globe. And on this lamp, all I have is the globe. And I know from my evaluation of this that there are about 3 or 4 pieces, roughly this big, missing. Don't have them, so I'm going to have to assemble this and then figure out a way to fill those voids with something that looks like this beautiful white alabaster. This is the whitest alabaster I've ever worked with. It's very few striations in it and veining. It's just very, very lovely. So we're going to use Hixtal to bond this. Normally when I do Hixtal, it's for glass and porcelain type objects, but I know it works well on this. Epoxy is going to yellow if I use a paste or a paste type epoxy. Even if it's clear, it's going to yellow over the years, and then it's going to look really ugly down the road. So I'm going to use Hixtal because it doesn't yellow, even though it is epoxy, and it flexes with the temperature too, so that this lamp warms up with the light in it. It's not going to have an expansion coefficient problem and cause cracking in the stone. This is a very, very soft stone. You have to be very careful with it. You can ruin alabaster very easily. You could scratch it with your fingernails. Okay? You could carve it with a penknife. You could probably carve it with a butter knife. It's very, very soft. It's a crystallized version of the same stuff that your sheetrock is made out of. And that's the reason I can't use ground up scraps of this, even if I got it somewhere else. If you grind it up and mix it with the Hixtal or some kind of resin type medium, it's not going to have this translucency. It's just going to look like plaster, and it won't be translucent anymore. So I'm going to use dyed, I plan on using dyed acrylic resin for this. But that's down the road. So for today, what we're going to do is to get this thing back together. So, and the way I'm going to do that is with my Hixtal. I'm going to brush it on the cracks, and instead of taping it together like I usually do, and then applying it to the edge of the crack. This is thick, and I want to make sure that it gets very good coverage with the adhesive. I've got my Hixtal mixed up. And ready to go. Okay, so it's assembled. But all the pieces we had are bonded together, and we've got this beautiful lampshade, lamp globe. And we have 1, 2, 3 missing pieces, 4 missing pieces that need to be filled. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to use a pigmented or a dyed resin, epoxy resin fill in that. I have to figure out a way to dam up the outside and then fill it from the inside so that I get a nice smooth compound curve here. Because I can't file it or sand it or anything when I'm done, because it will be harder than the alabaster. So the hard part of this is going to be figuring out how to do these fills in here. On the plus side, the other side of the globe looks very good, and maybe the owner can just shift things around so that this is the front view. And of course, we're looking at it upside down right now. So anyway, so we'll come back when this is going to sit overnight. I'll take the tape off and wipe any. That'll be my last opportunity to wipe off any squeeze out that's under the tape. And then I need to let this set for 4 or 5 days. Make sure that the Hixtel is good and strong before I start addressing these voids. So we'll come back when we're ready to do this part. Alright, so we are ready to fill the voids on this alabaster light globe, and I have these missing pieces to fill with a pigmented epoxy resin here, and I've got it as close as I can get it to the color of this alabaster. And I have the outside of these voids is blocked with tape, which you can't see because it's clear. But the idea is I have the front side covered and sealed off, and I'm going to fill it from the back. And the problem is I need to fill these, and then there's a bigger void over here. So my plan is to fill these 2 smaller ones and then put tape on this side of it, so that when I turn this to get the larger void down here for a gravity fill, I don't dump it out of these 2. So we're going to try to fill these and then wipe off the excess and move on and tape it, and then move on to the other larger fill. So here we go. I'm going to just pour this into these voids. It's self-leveling, and I will hopefully not have any bubbles in it. And so far, so good. Whoops. I'll wipe off some excess here. So far it looks pretty good, color wise. I won't know until I can see the light shining through it just how good it is. Well, we're finally done with this Alabaster light globe, and it was you've seen the before picture, and we glued it all back together, and then we filled a couple of two or three voids in here where we didn't have the pieces. By the way, the globe sits on a lamp like this, and then there's a top piece that goes to this too. But the owner just only shipped this in because this is the only part that needed to be repaired. So the repair came out very well, and you can't see it because I did a pretty good job on the fills. There's a piece about this long here with the big piece missing, and there were two smaller pieces over here. And I would like to shine a light through this to give you an idea just how it looks. And so I don't want to shine the light at the camera, so I'm just going to run the light over the areas where the fills are, and it's pretty hard to detect where they are unless you're very close. Can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. I've never tried this particular technique before. I'm happy with it. There's some degree of hit or miss to it, you know, because it's difficult to match the color on the alabaster. And it's inconsistent all over. It has veins in it, and there are dark spots and lighter spots. But I'm very happy with the way this came out. So, and I think the customer will be also. So, there we have it.